Why the hell are kickers the main star of the 2024 NFL offseason? Harrison Butker giving a commencement speech, Brandon McManus turning a team plane into a private room at the Spearmint Rhino. What's next? Is Justin Tucker going to get arrested on drug trafficking charges? Find out on an all-new season of The Wire. Even if Tucker was smuggling drugs, I bet it would be for a good reason though, right? Like he's caught smuggling insulin down from Canada to help people who can't afford it in his Baltimore community. If Justin Tucker ever does a crime, we're all dead. The world is ending. Welcome to another edition of Law & Order Sports. I'm former prison snitch turned lawyer turned YouTuber Brandon Perna. And I'll say, the most dangerous of those three jobs was not prison snitch. Today, I'm swinging the gavel on a player I'm very familiar with in Brandon McManus, who is facing a sexual assault lawsuit. I know McManus, so this is a really shitty episode to have to make. Not shitty enough where I won't promote my coffee company, Benchwarmer, Brew.com. All gimmicks aside, the coffee's just damn good, okay? Give it a try. Put my beans in your mouth. Wait. Also, sorry, I got sick again. I was supposed to schedule our Patreon hangout this week. I felt like shit, so we'll move it to next week. All $10 a month Patreon members. That info will be on Patreon and in the YouTube community tab for $10 members there as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you to everyone who re-tagged me in my tweet from September of 2023 saying the Broncos cutting Brandon McManus was fucking dumb. A tweet I fired off after the Broncos lost the season opener due to a missed field goal. For all of you alluding to the idea that I should be able to predict sexual assault allegations before the alleged incident even occurs, let me just say, you're right. I need to be better. My goal is to be the Tom Cruise from Minority Report of sports news.
I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks.
Give the man his hat.
The future can be seen.
Now, former Broncos, Jaguars, and current Washington Commanders kicker Brandon McManus is in hot water after accusations about his behavior on the Jaguars team plane to London last October. And yes, this was on their way to play the Falcons in the Toy Story game. If these sexual assault allegations find their way to trial, I want the whole thing streamed, with Woody and Mr. Potato Head providing commentary and Buzz Lightyear providing legal analysis. Now, two women identified as Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2 have filed a lawsuit against kicker Brandon McManus and the Jacksonville Jaguars alleging sexual assault during that team flight to London last year. Now, according to the lawsuit, McManus is accused of rubbing himself against the women and grinding against them. The lawsuit claims that the Jaguars failed to supervise McManus properly and did not create a safe environment for the flight staff. The plaintiffs are seeking over $1 million in damages and have demanded a jury trial. Yes, the Jaguars are liable for not babysitting a 32-year-old man on an airplane. Remember 2 years ago when the Broncos flew to London to play the Jags? At the time, McManus was a Denver Bronco, and guess what? 0 sexual assault allegations resulted from that flight. Why? Because Russell Wilson was doing high fucking knees on the airplane the whole time.
Everybody was knocked out. I was doing high knees and working on my legs and everything else, make sure I'm ready to rock.
Say what you want about Russ, but ain't nobody committing sex crimes when their nerdy-ass quarterback is high-kneeing up and down the aisles.
What do you want to know? What are we doing on the plane ride back home? I heard Lamar's leading us in high knees, Ravens flock, let's fly.
Unlimited!
Why would you hurt me like that, Justin? I just defended you. Petty. petty, man.
He worked so hard that eventually, it was good for him, good for him.
McManus's attorney, Brett Galloway, came out and immediately denied the allegations, calling them fictitious and a part of a defamation campaign. Tony Busby, who you probably recall as the lawyer who represented the women accusing Deshaun Watson of sexual assault, is representing the two women who have come out against Brandon McManus. According to the lawsuit, the two women were flight attendants on the Jaguars charter flight with Atlas Air Worldwide Holdings, which sounds like the production company from Step Brothers.
Prestige Worldwide. Why?
On September 28, 2023, they alleged that the flight quickly turned into a party as McManus and several other players ignored the flight attendants' personal space and air travel safety and federal laws. And this wasn't mentioned in the lawsuit, but I just know those assholes also didn't put their personal devices into airplane mode. Guys, when they tell you to do that on the plane, do it. Now, the lawsuit also claims that McManus persuaded 3 other flight attendants to join the party by handing out $100 bills, encouraging them to drink and dance inappropriately for him. If true, he treated the plane like a strip club. I just flew to Hawaii and back, and I was scared to accidentally touch my flight attendant's hand when she gave me my $10 Jack and Coke. I was also too scared to order a third because I didn't want her to think I had a drinking problem. Now, Jane Doe 1 claims that McManus attempted to kiss her while the flight was going through turbulence and twice grinded against her while she was serving meals during the flight. She said that during the first incident, she made eye contact with another Jaguar player who appeared ashamed of Brandon's behavior. If that's true, I want to know which player that was. Which guy on an NFL roster is too scared to stand up to a fucking kicker? And why? Why would a Jacksonville Jaguar feel comfortable grinding on a woman in public? I wonder.
This video of Meyer, apparently taken at his restaurant in Columbus, shows a woman, not his wife, getting up close and personal. The video has been viewed over 500,000 times on Twitter alone. The Jaguars say that they will have no comment on the video today.
Now, Jane Doe 2 also claims that McManus grinded against her while she was serving the second meal on the flight. She claims that when she confronted McManus, who smirked and walked away, in order to avoid McManus, Jane Doe 2 stayed on the aircraft's second story during the return flight from London back to Jacksonville after the game. Now, according to the lawsuit, that September flight was the first Jaguars charter flight for both women, and they have since suffered severe mental anguish, anxiety, psychological and emotional distress, embarrassment, and humiliation. They also say that they were dropped from the staff on the Jaguars flights, a position that took some hard work to get in the first place. The Jaguars could also be on the hook here because the lawsuit alleges that the Jags were grossly negligent in their handling of McManus, failing to properly hire and train him regarding inappropriate and sexual conduct with flight staff. To be fair to the Jaguars, that's something he should already know. But additionally, it claims the team failed to supervise him on the flight and introduce or enforce any policies to keep the women safe. This was also posted by attorney Tony Busby on social media. We filed the case on Friday. But before that filing, we attempted without success to resolve this matter without need for litigation. Our efforts at resolution were met with arrogance, ignorance, and stupidity, strikingly similar to how Deshaun Watson's team responded when we tried to resolve those cases pre-filing. All right, let's say the accounts of what happened in this situation are true, okay? Comparing this situation and McManus to Deshaun Watson's accusations is pretty fucked up. And I'd say irresponsible by Tony Busby. Also, if McManus is innocent, he has every right to legally defend himself from these accusations. I think this is going to come down to whether or not anyone else on the plane will corroborate the alleged victims or Brandon McManus's version of the story. Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson said the allegations were disappointing, and he was not pleased with the claims of a, quote, party on the plane. Wouldn't Doug have been on that plane? While I think a head coach shouldn't have to worry about his players treating the flight crew with respect, you're going to know if the guys are partying on the plane. Now, this has been an embarrassing offseason for the Jaguars. These allegations emerge. I did an entire video about their former employee who embezzled $22 million from the team. And they also had another former employee receive a 220-year prison sentence for being a convicted child molester, a story I did not cover because it was too revolting. Now, timing-wise for Brandon McManus, this is terrible. The Jaguars did not bring him back after one season in Jacksonville. He only made 81.1% of his field goals last year. And if the Commanders don't want to deal with this story, whether it's true or not, they could easily go in a different direction. Obviously, I'm going into the wait-and-see mode on these accusations before rendering any sort of final judgment on anything because I do not want to be a juror in the court of public opinion. I know Brandon McManus. Not only is my team's kicker for 9 years, but I actually have met him, spent time with him, interviewed him multiple times. So it's hard for me to try and discuss this without being biased because he has been very cool to me. All I hope for is a just outcome here one way or another. And I already know there are going to be people picking a side. It's what we do as humans with these stories. McManus is a scumbag and he's guilty. The women are just attempting a money grab. We pick a side. The point right now is none of us know the truth. We may never get the truth. That's what gets weird about these situations. And even with only one side of the story currently available, we struggle to stay neutral. Now, I've made the mistake of jumping to conclusions in the past on this show. In regard to this situation, I just want the right thing to happen. Can we all root for the right thing to happen? If he's guilty of making these women feel unsafe and violated, let him be punished. If he's innocent, then let his name be cleared. Let him be vindicated. What I will say is if you're going to extort someone on an NFL roster, aim higher than the kicker. The only players worth less, of course, are running backs, so don't go after them either. Thanks for watching Law & Order Sports here on YouTube. Please subscribe to this channel. Come back tomorrow. I might just have a Mark Davis, Dov Kleiman episode. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, we should have an Aaron Rodgers Jets episode coming up later this week. But you gotta subscribe.